My name is Florence Amelia Manchester Smith, and I'm a World War II veteran. Well, I was visiting my brother in Massachusetts. He was in the Coast Guard, and one night my sister-in-law had to go and pick him up. And so we were waiting there for him, and I looked at the door, and out comes all these women with those beautiful uniforms on. I think a light bulb went off in my brain because I thought, I think that would be for me. I was just a small town girl and there wasn't much around here, you know, to do or anything. And I thought I just might like to, where it's World War II, that I could do it. And my brothers were Coast Guardmen, and they were also in the Depression. They were in the CCCs, the Civilian Conservation Corps. And so they paved the way for me, and I thought, well, if they were that young and joined that for President Roosevelt, I think probably I could do as good as they have. I had signed up and enrolled right then, and then I went home and told my mother. But she wasn't mad at me or anything. I think she thought, well, I was the only one out of 11 that graduated from high school, that I might know what I was doing, I don't know. But I told her what I had done, and she was very proud of me after I did go in and everything, so. But I enlisted in November, because that was when it was organized, 1943. I had a boyfriend, and he was in the Coast Guard. So he came up in December, and I had told him what I had done too. And I was at my church doing some things for the kids that I was a Sunday school teacher, and in he comes, and he was so excited, he reached in his pocket and hauled out a ring, and I said, no, not now. So I said, you help me with what I'm doing, and then we'll, later we'll go. And so we did. We went back to his grandmother's. She lived in Jonesboro too, and that's where he gave me my diamond. And then I got my orders that I was leaving for Palm Beach in January. So I bid him goodbye, and then took off and went to Boston. And on a Thursday at 4 o'clock, we boarded a troop train and started off for Palm Beach. And I had never ever been beyond Boston. So everything was so exciting for me, I saw my first palm tree, and I didn't even know what that was like, But I was excited, and there was quite a group of us. And every time we went to the dining hall, we had boys there too. Sailors was there on that troop train. They would yell at us and say, "You'll be sorry," every time we went to the dining room. So I didn't pay any attention to them because I didn't think I'd be sorry, so. And we didn't land in Palm Beach until Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. And I remember what they gave me. It was lunchtime, but we got cereal. And then it all went like they do at boot camp, We were busy and getting uniforms and everything like that. At the end of the 6 weeks, that's when they assigned everybody. Well, I happened to be taken sick, and I was in the hospital. So I don't know whether they knew where I was or anything, but I had gotten out the day that they were to assign people. Waited for my name to be called, but it wasn't. So I just figured that maybe they didn't know that I was back out of the hospital. So they didn't have any place for me in office work because it was all filled in Palm Beach. So they asked me if I would like to work in the bakery. And I said, yes, I would love it. And for 6 months, I worked in the bakery at Palm Beach, Florida. And I made many friends, and I loved it. And then I got my orders for Boston. And when I went to say goodbye to the commander that was getting me to go, these are the words she said to me. She said, if you do as well as you do in Boston, you will be okay. And that's when I thought people were watching that we didn't even know that they were watching us. And I've told all my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, that's what it is, you know. You never know. And they bought my ticket for Boston, and the night before D-Day, I stayed with my brother and his wife. And then the next morning, she took me in to my base in Boston. And that's when we heard that it was D-Day. That day, June 6, 1944, is really nice to me. I did office work because I saw the signs was enlist as a spy and release a man for duty. So that was the motto, because men were doing all the office work. And then I was a confidential file clerk, and I loved it until I got. One morning, I had to go to the custom house with a stack of papers, and I was so surprised when I looked down at that first one on that. It was my brother Harold asking for a promotion. But he refused it. But I was so surprised that I would see that the very first thing when I went to the custom house for that. My husband, to-be, was stationed in Rockland, Maine. And he came right up to see me, because I hadn't seen him for 6 months. And I said, let's get married. So I told him on July 15 at 6 o'clock, be at my sister's house. And the night before I left, I came home on the train. And the next morning, I got up and I got on the telephone, and I invited 100 people to my wedding. And I never thought at all day long, where he might be, because I knew he'd be hitchhiking, because that's what they did back then, you know, was hitchhike. He finally showed up just before 6 o'clock. And then, of course, I was expecting. So on November 11, 1944, I was discharged. Yeah. I went because I was adventurous, and I had never seen anything, you know. And so I just wanted to go and do my part and see a little bit more than what I had been seeing, so.